When we think of Roman soldiers, we picture disciplined warriors fighting in perfect formation on the battlefield. But what happened after the dust of battle settled, when the fighting was over and the enemy was defeated? The aftermath of battle for a Roman soldier was far more complex than you might imagine. Sometimes brutal, sometimes ceremonial, and often deeply practical. Let's explore what Roman soldiers did after the battle, and some of it might just surprise you. The first priority for Roman soldiers after a battle was securing the battlefield. This involved a thorough sweep of the area to ensure that all enemy forces were either killed, captured, or had fled. Roman discipline didn't stop when the fighting did. Soldiers were trained to stay alert and organized to prevent ambushes or counterattacks. They secured strategic points like hills, river crossings, or roads to maintain control of the area. Once the battlefield was secured, the next grim task began: dealing with the dead. Roman soldiers would first tend to their own fallen comrades, collecting the bodies for burial or cremation. The Romans believed in honoring their dead, and proper burial rites were essential for ensuring that the soldier's spirit could rest in peace. Officers and commanders often received more elaborate rites, with soldiers gathering to honor their leaders through speeches or ceremonial pyres. As for the enemy dead, the approach was more practical and less ceremonial. Bodies were often stripped of armor and weapons, which were then gathered as spoils of war. These items were valuable not just for their material worth, but also as trophies to display Rome's dominance. Occasionally, enemy leaders or particularly notable warriors were given ceremonial burials to demonstrate respect or as a political gesture. The handling of prisoners was another critical post-battle task. Roman soldiers were trained to capture and detain enemy combatants, especially those who could provide intelligence or be used for ransom. High-ranking captives were often paraded through the streets of Rome during triumphal processions, showcasing Rome's victories to the public. Common prisoners might be sold into slavery, adding to the spoils of war, or executed as a warning to others. Looting was also a significant part of the aftermath. While the Roman army was disciplined, looting was allowed under strict conditions and only after the battlefield was secured. Soldiers were rewarded with a share of the spoils, including coins, precious metals, and other valuables found on the bodies of the enemy or in their camps. These rewards were an important motivator for soldiers, many of whom relied on the spoils of war to supplement their income. But it wasn't all grim tasks and looting. After a successful battle, Roman soldiers also celebrated their victory in ways that reinforced their camaraderie and pride. Feasting was a common post-battle activity, with soldiers sharing whatever food and drink they could find, often accompanied by storytelling and boasting about their exploits. These celebrations helped boost morale and cement the bonds between soldiers who had fought side by side. For larger victories, commanders might organize more formal celebrations, such as sacrifices to the gods or ceremonial processions. The Romans were deeply religious, and they believed that their victories were granted by the gods. Offering sacrifices, often of animals, was a way to thank the divine for their favor and to ensure continued success in future campaigns. These rituals were often conducted by the commanding officer, who acted as both a military leader and a priest in such ceremonies. In some cases, soldiers would even erect monuments on the battlefield to commemorate their victory. These could be simple markers or elaborate structures, such as the Tropæum, a victory monument made from the armor and weapons of the defeated enemy. These monuments served as a lasting reminder of Rome's power and as a warning to any who might challenge them. After the immediate tasks were completed, the Roman army would set up a temporary camp if they weren't near an established fort or city. Roman military camps were marvels of organization, designed for efficiency and security. Even after a hard-fought battle, soldiers were expected to participate in constructing the camp, digging trenches, and setting up fortifications. This discipline ensured the safety of the army and prepared them for any further conflict. For individual soldiers, the days following a battle were often a time for reflection. Many would write letters to their families or compose personal accounts of the battle. Veterans sometimes carved graffiti into nearby walls or monuments, leaving behind records of their experiences. These small acts of remembrance give us a window into the personal lives of Roman soldiers, reminding us that they were not just warriors, but also fathers, sons, and citizens. However, the aftermath of battle wasn't always a time of celebration. For the soldiers who survived, there was often the trauma of losing comrades or the weight of killing. Ancient sources don't dwell on this aspect of Roman warfare, but modern historians recognize that the psychological toll on soldiers was likely significant. Rituals, camaraderie, and discipline were as much about coping with the horrors of war as they were about maintaining order and morale. In the grander scheme, the aftermath of a battle was just one step in Rome's relentless march toward domination. The Roman army's ability to efficiently manage the chaos of war, from securing the battlefield to celebrating victory, was a key part of what made them so effective. Their discipline didn't end when the fighting stopped. It carried through every aspect of their operations, ensuring that Rome's victories were total and enduring. So, the next time you think of Roman soldiers, remember that their greatness wasn't just in how they fought, but also in what they did after the battle. Their actions, from honoring their dead to celebrating their victories, reveal a side of the Roman army that was as much about humanity as it was about conquest.